Okay. Patenting and academic research. So I have divided my the session, the delivery of talks, into two different halves, which is one is let us understand about patenting, and the second we shall be understanding about what is the opportunities for, what we all know patenting, but how is it useful in the academic research is what which we are going to see today. So most of us might have heard about the word patenting. Sometimes it is used in a wrong notation. Sometimes colloquially will we say, have you patented this word? Have you patented this thing? In a colloquial language that we generally do among the students. But patenting is something which cannot be granted without a novelty in it. Okay. What is patent, or what is intellectual property rights? That means you can own a car. Okay, you can own a house, you can own a land, but how will you own the intellect that you possess? So that is the first question. What actually is intellectual property rights? That is your idea, your intellect is being protected. That is what is intellectual property rights. So intellect stands for product of mind or intellect. Property is a possession or ownership, and rights, of course, we are aware of it, which is permission. So this is the entire understanding of what is intellectual property rights. You are protecting your intellect, which is intangible asset. Okay. So next, it is a creation of mind or intellect of a human being. IP can be classified. IP here stands for intellectual property. Henceforth, I will be using the word of IP everywhere. IP is nothing but intellectual property. So intellectual property is basically classified into two main categories. One is industrial property and one is copyrights. So now we have something in intellect. So for example, I have a movie, the screenplay or script in my mind. Okay, I cannot protect it when it is in my mind. I will have to give a prototype, or I should have some kind of something as a proof. So you can see that can be copyrighted. The literature, dramatic, music, videos, and all those can be copyrighted, and the rest will be under industrial property. Okay. So now how do you protect it? You have created it. You will first protect. After creation, you will not start to exploit. You will lose all your rights. You cannot stop somebody from using this if you don't protect it. The majority or mostly what happens is people create the idea. So what I will do, I will share it with my colleagues or friends or whatever it is. I have an idea. I'll just kind of explain to them. So that is, maybe the other person also had an idea of the same idea. So if he goes and protects it first, or rather protection in the sense, he is applying an application to the concerned authorities and he is getting the protection, then he will be the owner of the idea that you have created. That means you, after you create, or if you have an idea in your mind and you have come up with a prototype, immediately you rush up to protect it with the concerned authorities. So you cannot prove that you had given the idea to the friend. There are many cases like this. If you can see the website of IP Spicy, there are many cases which has been fought, saying that I was the one who created the idea and it was the other person. And you have seen, we can see some cases in movies also, right? There were few cases where the movie songs or the lyrics, or at least the screenplay of the movie, was owned by somebody else. They put a case on the director that he has copied my idea. But the thing is, you will have to go and protect it first. Otherwise, you will end up crying that you have lost all your rights. So the system of doing this is, you will create it, then you will protect it, then manage and exploit for your commercial aspects. So generally what happens after creation of mind, immediately people jump to the fourth step, which is exploiting. No, first you will have to create and then protect, manage and exploit. Now what is intellectual property rights? I said it has been divided into two halves. One is industrial property and one is copyrights. Patents, we have all heard of. Trademark, yes, we have all heard of trademark. Brand, you know people would prefer an apple, not because of its other features, and this one, it's a brand. Okay. Industrial designs, yes. Geographical indication, we all know that locality. For example, Kolhapur Cheppal has been geographical indication has been granted to it. Tirunelveli Halwa has been given a geographical indication. That is for that locality. Okay, that is available only in that particular locality. Then it is geographical indication, new plant variety, trade secrets, and integrated circuits. So we will be touching upon patents today. And copyrights is a different ballgame. Okay, so intellectual property right is something which is in your head or in your mind, and we will give a prototype and then go and protect it first. Okay, so what is a patent? Patent is a grant of property to an inventor. Okay, issued by a patent and trademark office. Who will rather be the owner of the patent? The person who has actually invented it, and issued by the who gives the authority that you have been designated as a granted patent. That is from your patent and trademark office. What is the right that has been given to them? To manufacture, sell, or license the invention. That means if I have come up with an invention, I will be granted the patent and I can do whatever I want with it. Either I will manufacture, use, sell, or license it. If anybody else licenses, or anybody else uses my invention without my permission, then I can heavily sue them and get the, compensation, right? It is specified for how many years. It is not like perpetual that I have a patent or I have it for 100 years. No, the patent right is only for 20 years. Okay, and what does the inventor has to do to get a patent? He has to disclose his invention to the concerned authority. For example, today I have come up with an invention. Okay, some invention I have come up. What I will do, I will go and disclose it to my the authority, that is your Patent and Trademark Office of India. I will just visit them and I will have to explain the invention completely to them, and then based on that they will be granting me the patent, and my patent is there for 20 years. So this is all about patent. So in one slide, if you have to say what is patent, okay, what on earth is this? Because nowadays many of the academic institutes have started talking about patents and technology transfer, XYZ things, but actually what is it? So what is a patent? Patent is a legal right. Of course I have to sue them if they use any of my invention without my permission or without me giving them the license. Then I can sue them. So it is a legal right conferred to the state or the country. If anybody says I have a global patent, show them the way out of the door. There is nothing called as a global patent. So it is territorial right. Okay, if you, for example, if you have a patent for an invention in India, you cannot use the invention without my permission, but you can use the invention without my permission in Pakistan or maybe in Bangladesh, because I have not claimed or I have not protected my patent or my invention in the other country. So it is a territorial right. Okay, what has been given? The legal right is conferred to the country whom it is given, to the applicant or the inventor, for disclosing. You have to disclose the invention. You cannot say that I own the moon. No, you will have to disclose what are the ideas and other complete details has to be disclosed to whom? It should be disclosed to the authorities. That is your Patent and Trademark Office. Now, what rights do I get to make, to use, sell, or license the invention? These are the rights that I get from the body, the regulatory body or the Patent and Trademark Office. What rights do I get? I get the right to make, use, sell, or license the invention for a limited period, which is for 20 years. So combining all these things, what it is? Patent is a legal right. It is given by the regulatory body and it is given to the inventor. It is a territorial right. I have to disclose the invention, and what rights do I get? I can make, use, sell, or license the invention. So this is what is about patent. Now, patent, anything and everything cannot be patented. There is 3 criteria that is very important for granting a patent. One is novel. Invention itself is novel. You just can't bring the same thing which is available. For example, what happened? There was a case. Now, most of them might be knowing about this case. There was turmeric, which was actually patented in the US for the action of antiseptic. How can it be patented? It is not novel, you know, right from my great grandmother and long, I mean, India has a history. If I fall down, if I get the wound, if I'm bleeding, my parents would take turmeric and put it up on that. And if it is for anything of antiseptic, immediately you will use turmeric. For cooking, we use turmeric. What is the use of turmeric? It is an antiseptic, that is infection preventing. So if I fall down, I put an antiseptic. So what is novel in it? There was nothing novel. But to the shock of the life, what happened? US has granted the patent for turmeric for an antiseptic activity. But antiseptic activity of a turmeric is known ages ago in India. So then ICMR heavily went. ICMR is the Indian body. They were heavily went there and said that this is a well-known thing. What is novel in it? Okay, so that license, or rather the patent, was cancelled. So this is one of the landmark case which happened. Okay, novelty is very important. That is, invention must be new and not known earlier. And it should be useful. What is the point of making an invention which is not useful? You get a patent and leave it in the shelf. What is the point? It should be useful to the society or useful to some of the industrial application, and unobvious. Unobvious in the sense, like, it should not be very predictable. If I mix water with sugar, it will be sweet. What is so non-obvious about it? Okay, it should be something like, for a normal person, he should feel that this is unobvious. So these three criteria should be fulfilled for the invention that you're coming up in India, specifically to India, which is new, which is novel and industrial applicability, and which should be non-obvious. Mixing two things and drinking, what is novel in it? It is obvious, right? So what can be patented in India? It's like Indian Patent Act is around is 1970. It's a very recent thing, the patent things. So what is an invention? Any new and useful art, process, method, and manner of manufacturing. I'll just keep explaining as and when it comes. Okay. So what can be patented? Machine or apparatus and other articles can be patented. Substance produced by manufacturer and includes any new or useful improvement. Yes. Invention claiming substances intended for use of capable of being used in food or medicine. Now we know that medicines like atorvastatin, statin groups, atorvastatin was what to say? It was patented. The patent was granted to Pfizer. Okay, so we know about this and any process of doing it. Okay, these are the types of the patents that can be granted. What cannot be patented? This is a very important topic. Okay, many of us do not know about this. We just land up with a patent or an invention. We just go to the patent office and then they say, as per the section 3 of the Patent Act, your invention cannot be patented in India. So before any of the researchers go up with some novel ideas and other things, please understand that, what cannot be patented in India. Certain inventions are not allowed in India. More than knowing what should be patented, please learn what cannot be patented, so as you can move across with your research, so as in the pretext or in the final output of your invention could be patent. So this is a very important slide where you will be knowing about what should not be patented. Okay, which is under section 3D of the Indian Patent Act 1970, which you can refer later on. Okay, the invention which is frivolous or contrary to well-established natural laws. Perpetual motion machine giving output without input. Impossible. Okay, so how can a machine give an output without an input? Impossible. So which is against the natural laws, which you cannot patent. You cannot patent for the inventions which has frivolous or which is contrary to the natural law. Without input, where will you get an output? Obvious. Primary use of the invention is injurious to public health. A gun, which is injurious, or a machine creating for violent environment, something like that cannot be patented. Otherwise, these people will patent the gun and they'll say that AK-47 is mine. It cannot happen. Okay. So first thing is which is contrary to the natural law. The second thing is which is injurious to the public health, maybe a gun or a violent machine or whatever it is. You cannot patent those inventions. Mere discovery of scientific principle or a formula or an abstract theory, that is E is equal to mc square, instance, formulas and all cannot be patented. Okay, if only one patent is something, it's a legal right. Only I will be able to use the formula and I will not be allowing the other person. It makes no sense, right? So if I have a formula with me, or some scientific principle or formula for abstract theory is equal to mc square, we cannot patent a formula saying that this formula is mine. Okay, then substances obtained by mere admixture of various compounds, that is mixing sugar with pieces of coconut, what will happen? It's a mere admixture, that's it. You cannot say that I mix these two, so it is a new invention, so I'm going to protect it. No. For example, you have a table which has a small if you remember, there was an old instrument which is called as a radiogram, which has a multi-purpose, which is actually for multi-purpose use. That is, it's a table which has a socket for a radio to be placed inside, and there is a door inside for storage. So it is just three things which are doing their respective work. It's just an admixture. They are just mixing it. That's it. The same one table is doing all. Many we are storing it. We have a radio ka socket and we have a table. What big deal? Everything is doing their respective work. So mere admixture of various compounds cannot be patented in India. An arrangement or rearrangement or duplication of known devices, a wristwatch with a compass, or we have seen those travel bags. We have a compass there. We go to some other city or somewhere where you have to know the direction. Initially, I don't know if now these travel bags are attached to this compass, which shows the north, south, east, west direction, the compass. So those kind of things, the wristwatch is doing its work and compass is doing its work. So mere rearrangement of things cannot be patented because nothing is novel in it, right? Okay. So a method of agriculture or horticulture. See, for a method of agriculture or horticulture, if I do that, one farmer comes out with this horticulture technique. That means only he can use it. Then what about the other land? You are stopping the others of agriculture. So agriculture and horticulture, which is useful for the society, cannot be patented. Okay. And a process of medical, surgical, curative, prophylactic. Now, for example, maybe in the in 2000s, I don't remember which year, in the series of 2000, initial 2000s, what happened? There was a surgery technique where the pregnancy or the delivery, the cesarean section was exclusively cutting the pelvic part. I'm not an expert in that, but I have read this somewhere. Okay, an exclusive thing without cutting out the whole tummy of the mother. So it was a special procedure where only a small amount of, where the injury is a little less, practically speaking, the cesarean section of a delivery. So those kind of techniques, which is useful for the treatment, cannot be patented. If they say that this surgery technique is mine, only I will be using it, what is the point? No point in doing so. Okay, a presentation of information, mere schemes or rules or methods of performing in mental act. It's a game that you have, like playing chess, or any mere scheme or rule of performing in mental act. How can you, the playing chess, you cannot say that I alone will patent it for this. No, these games and all cannot be patented in India. A mathematical or business method or a computer program algorithm. I have seen many people coming and asking us, I have developed a algorithm or a software kind of a thing. Can I patent it? No, you cannot patent a computer program or an algorithm. What you can do for a protection, you can go for copyrights. You cannot have patent. This is an area where I have seen students and the other staffs who get confused. Can we actually patent this algorithm or the computer software and applications? Can we do it? No. You can protect it, but not via patents. You will be going into with the copyrights. Clear? And then inventions relating to atomic energy. Definitely, it cannot be patented. Otherwise, one person will find some atomic bomb or something like that to just nuclear power or whatever it is, nuclear energy. I have invented something, so I will own it. No. Then already there is a lot of terrorism and other acts. So this is again another bigger ball game. So this atomic energy, if anybody is working on atomic energy, you will give your invention to the government of India, GOI, and they will pay you the royalty as according to the invention. So an atomic energy or some kind of nuclear things cannot be patented because that is again becoming hazardous. or rather misuse of it is higher, where you can destroy the whole world. So atomic and nuclear energy systems cannot be patented. Okay, traditional knowledge, the invention which is related to traditional knowledge, that is what I told you, the turmeric case. No, turmeric is used for if I fall down, if I get a little amount of bleeding, immediately my parents would put this turmeric. So it is a traditional knowledge. For this jaundice, we jaundice nahi, chicken pox ke liye, we have that neem leaves. That's a traditional knowledge, we know about it. Okay, so traditional knowledge. And what other, immediately I'm not getting any idea. We use a lot of food items. We make that, in this COVID-19 case, kashaya, many of us might have had even before this COVID, but the thing is like kashaya, if you have a stomach digestion or you have digestion issues or some other issue, immediately your parents or your great grandmothers will just mix up ginger and many other ingredients. So it is a traditional knowledge. There is nothing in book which exclusively says completely. Of course, there are some monographs, but even before the monographs had come, we all know about this. Kashaya we used to drink. Nowadays, if you have a specifically COVID-19 mein, kashaya, tulsi, and other tulsi has a traditional this one. So this is traditional knowledge. That is, it has been known since long. Traditionally, we follow this. We add turmeric in every food, irrespective of what we make. Any dal, any sabji, we add turmeric. Why? We believe that it is an antiseptic and clears your tummy. Okay. Properties of traditional known compounds or component. That is, I have discovered something on earth. That means traditionally known components cannot be patented. So these are something which cannot be patented in India. So before you start, I would sincerely suggest the researchers who are coming up with any novel ideas, please check out if any of your invention is falling under this category, which cannot be patented in India. Okay. So what can be patented in India? A process or a product can be patented. Okay. For example, we pharmacists might know that, paracetamol, we can make it from acetyl salicylic acid. Okay. It's a basic, this one. So we have a process of, for example, this is a mere example. It's an hypothetical example. Please don't go much technical into it. This is to just make you clear of what is a process and a product patent. Okay. Now I am coming up with a paracetamol. Basically, everybody knows, any pharmacist will know paracetamol. So I am taking this example. Okay. You are making paracetamol by a process A and process B. Two processes. Okay. So, but the end product is paracetamol. Process A, when you are mixing, also you get paracetamol. Process B, when you are making, your end product is paracetamol. So basically what product patent means, that you are applying for a patent for that paracetamol, which is your end product. Okay. But if you don't go for a product patent, you are going for a process patent. For example, you are protecting only your process A and making paracetamol. The other person will say, I didn't make with the process A, I made it with process B and I came with paracetamol. You will dilute your patent. Okay. I remember one of the case when I had done my, classes with NMIMS, there was one case, it is a very peculiar case, or rather disheartening case. What happened? There was some product which had come up. Okay. And the process of making it is in 60 degrees. So the product was synthesized, the chemical which is synthesized is almost in 60 degrees. So what happened, that particular company or the inventor who went for a patent, he mentioned in the process that only 60 degrees may this product is coming up. Okay. There is a dilution in it. Okay. What the other company did, they made a product in the same thing in 61 degrees. He lost his patent. He diluted his patent. So always he should have given a range from 50 to 70, this product will be formed. Okay. So this is the amount of, if you visit the website of, the websites for patent, there are so many companies fighting for a lot of things. Small, you might feel that this is very trivial. He made 60 degrees. He mentioned there specifically 60. The mistake what he did was, he should have kept it as a range. So this is the amount of, the smaller things which actually get into the question. So process patent, if you do, then the product can be made by any other process. Okay. So generally it is always good to protect your product and not your process. Any process you make, it is the product. If you patent, then none of them can touch your patent. Okay. So is there a universal patent? Patent are territorial rights. Anybody says I have a universal patent, give them one whack. It cannot be a universal patent. PCT is something different. We will not touch about that. But that PCT doesn't mean that it is a universal patent. There is nothing called as a universal patent. If you have patent in India, the other person can use your patent without your permission in Pakistan or Sri Lanka. But if you have protected your invention even in Sri Lanka and Pakistan, then that was, you can sue them. So you will have to apply or give an application to every country that you are wanting or you are preferring to attain patent for. So patent is a territorial right. Okay, patent is granted in one country is valid in that country only. Very, very clear. If an inventor wants to patent an invention in different countries, he needs a separate procedure. That is what I said about PCT. We will not talk much about PCT. Okay. There is no universal, global, or international patent. It is a territorial right. You will have to visit that specific country and apply the application, and the country will decide, or the regulatory bodies of that particular country will decide if they can grant you a patent or reject your patent. That is on case basis. You cannot attain a universal patent. So now, coming into the topic which is actually mattering is around what is patenting, how to patent in patenting and academic research. Okay, this is the main part of the topic. So what we had covered is understanding about patent. It is a legal right which is for 20 years in the specified country. Okay, then we saw what can be patented, and specifically we had an intense discussion on what cannot be patented, and then we learned about patent. Now let us see how this patent is working, or how do you extrapolate, or how do you use this patenting things in your academic research. To the shock of the life, many inventions are coming from educational sector, which we are not aware of. Okay, this is Nicotex. Nicotex is the nicotine patch. What is a nicotine patch? Is people who are addicted to cigarette or smoking. There is an alternative, which is the nicotine patch. Many of us must be knowing it is available as tablets as well. When you feel like, when the person who chain smoker who feels like smoking, to remove him from that habit of smoking, they give this nicotine tablets, which gives him the same feeling as that of your smoking. So this kind of nicotine patch was first discovered in the University of California, LA. How many of us were actually knowing? Most of the inventions that has come in this educational sector, most of the inventions that are, blockbusters are actually from the academic setup, which many of us are not aware of. Okay, one among that is the nicotine patch, and the second is your atorvastatin. Hypertension, BP, immediately you have a prescription of atorvastatin from any doctor, even from the basic of MBBS. But where did that atorvastatin was invented? It was invented by Dr. Bruce, who from Iowa State University. So this atorvastatin, which is a blockbuster, and it has been patented. Rather, he has granted his patent to Pfizer. The Pfizer has this Lipitor-Ka patent, and of course that is expired. That is a different issue. But atorvastatin, which is used in and out by most of the doctors for hypertension, is from the university setup. It was discovered it was invented in university. Okay, then the second one, the ultrasound. All the pregnant mothers, every month or every 2 months, they go for an ultrasound to see the movement of the child. Where was that invented? That is your ultrasound in obstetrics. Ultrasound as such was discovered by engineering, the other sector, but the usage of this ultrasound in obstetrics, that is your gynecologic, gynecology in obstetrics, was invented by Ian Donald from University of Glasgow. So an ultrasound which is left, right, and center. Any problem, all mothers, rather at least all mothers who are pregnant, at least once they would have undergone this ultrasound. Okay, that was an invention from a university. Okay, the SPSS. Now most of your research people, right? We are all research people. We have this statistics. We have the data, but we will have to analyze with a certain kind of statistics, which is SPSS is nothing but statistical package for social sciences. That was rather come up from University of Stanford. Now I expect a question here. Is SPSS, which is a software which can be patented? No, it cannot be patented. This I have put it up that this was an copyrighted software which has come up from University of Stanford. No computer applications and algorithms can be patented. It can be covered only by copyrights. Rather, if we have another session to talk about the copyrights and trademarks, I would be actually explaining about copyrights and trademarks in near future. Okay, if given an opportunity as such. You cannot patent an algorithm or a computer software things. You can only copyright it. So SPSS, all the researchers would have heard about it. Anywhere we run, we have a data, but how we analyze it? Statistical methods. We have the software of SPSS. Most of the organizations or the academic institutes have this software. So that was an it originated from the University of Stanford. Okay. So then DNA fingerprinting, specifically where in case of forensic, there is a murder, specifically when we see in movies, no, we see those people wearing gloves and coming and pouring some powder and using that brush and seeing DNA fingerprinting. It is not only in forensic, so just an example that I had given you. Many other places also the DNA fingerprinting can be used. So that was an invention from the University of Leicester. Okay, so this is yet another one, blockbuster. Okay, not in the pharmacy domain, but other in the criminology and other stuffs. This is a big shot that had come up. This webcam was introduced, or rather originated from University of Cambridge. And the periodic table, now the whole world, you know, all the elements that has come up, the periodic table is from in 1834. That too, it is very old. I mean, so it was from St. Petersburg University. So these are the major inventions that we have actually, we use it in and out. You know, we use that SPSS, we use this periodic table. Any chemist, specifically pharmacists, should be aware of the elements and the metals. So we have that periodic table. So where did it get invented or discovered, or it had come up from? It is all from the university setup. Why exactly from the university setup most of the things come up? Because you have a group of people, group of minds which is working on one particular area. You have a teacher and you have maybe 100 students in the UG level and maybe 15 to 20 students in your PG level. All minds are working on one point. So rather to hit or to get a, to click is higher. Okay, so most of the inventions, this is many of us might not be knowing this. I don't know about, I wouldn't generalize, but until I picked up this topic for my PhD, I was not knowing that so many things were actually discovered or invented from the university. So this is, university setup is something where research is born. Okay, research is born mostly from the university. So when research and inventions are coming from universities, why not to patent and make money out of it? So that is the base of this topic. So inventions, so many inventions are actually coming up from the universities. Why are we not moving towards patenting? Or rather, if we have certain patents, how many of the, what is the amount of, what is the number of patents that we have actually made money with? Let us be very practical. Okay, I have spent money, or the university has spent money so much on an invention. It is not a small amount of money. It runs in trillions. Okay, to come up with a new drug, it takes humongous amount of money. Okay, so when so much of a finance is invested and you have come up with a blockbuster drug, patent it, license it, and make money out of it. Nobody works for charity. Let us be very honest with ourselves. Okay, so next, let me see what is university industry technology transfer. So the thing is, I have a patent here, which is useful for the mankind. So why don't I license it to the industry and make money so as the society also gets benefited? See, university cannot work as an industry. They cannot manufacture in bulk, and they cannot, market and advertise. No, university is for the research. Okay, now this research, when you collaborate with the industry, what can happen? You will the industry will pay you some royalty, some royalty, bahut royalty actually. Okay, because if it is a blockbuster, then actually you can make money out of it. So whatever the research that we do in the university can actually be transferred for two things. One is for the societal benefits, and the second is for revenue generation. So how will you revenue generate from the research of the university? It is by tech transfer. What is tech transfer? The tech transfer is nothing but dissemination of innovation from universities and research institutes to the parties capable of commercialization. For example, the latest tech transfer, though not from the university, that has come up is this Rafale flights. You know, if you have read that, this was not that was not a technology which is from India. We have taken it from the French government. What was it? It was a government level technology transfer that had happened. That is, we have procured some amount of flights. Okay, I mean the Rafale flights, but some of them we are making it here. How are we making it here? So we have called in some of the experts from the French government, and they are helping our people, HUL and the Reliance. Okay, so they are making it. The technology from the French government is being transferred to the Indian scenario, and we are making the Rafale. So this is the best technology transfer that I could see. Though it is not from a university industry perspective, I'm just talking about what a technology transfer can. It can work wonders. Rafale is a wonder now. Fighter jets, and it is the best for your the Air Force that has come up. Okay, so technology transfer is dissemination of your research into your for commercialization. So if it is coming from university to industry, then it is called as university industry technology transfer. So now how can you help it? It is a catalyst for the economic growth. How economic growth? One can question me, ma'am, how is this technology transfer helping your economic growth? Now we will stick to the same example of this Rafale. Okay, what was the benefit that we got? We are getting flights. Okay, we are getting the flights, and what is the benefit that that French government is getting? We have paid them. Okay, so both of them are win-win situations. We needed the technology. We have the best Rafale flights, which is there, and what they have got, it is an economic growth. We have paid XYZ number of zeros behind the one. We don't even know that. I don't know even how much zeros does a crore have. So now n number of zeros we have transferred it. For both of us are benefited. We are benefited with the flights, and they are benefited with the this one. Similarly, imagine if we have a very good research, blockbuster research in India. So we have patented it. One of the university industry has patented it. University has patented it. Imagine if so many industry people from globe comes in for asking for our invention. Just imagine the now amount of money that we can actually make for the economic growth. Right? You can actually help the economic growth, but provided universities has to work on the research which is in demand. For example, now the need of the town is what? A vaccine for corona. What is the point in me working on Ebola right now, which is not in picture? So this is where the convergence is a problem which is happening right now. The university research is in one direction and the societal need is in the other direction. Provided university and industry collaborate with each other, saying that industry will say, dude, I want this technology where because this is on high demand. Then university can collaborate with them and come out with a solution of that particular problem. Okay, this can actually be a blockbuster. Right now, the scenario is maybe the research is a little deviated from the societal demands. So this comes into, if we converge these two things, rather we would be the best ever nation possible. Okay, the successful technology transfer is based on licensing. This is a very important thing. One of the case that it's an example, licensing agreement. If your licensing agreement, see, okay, I am an inventor. Maybe imagine that I am a scientist of XYZ university. I have come up with an invention, maybe some invention which is useful for the pharmaceutical industry. Okay, so I am collaborating with the industry and I am tech transferring my invention to them. Yes, I'm giving you the license to use my invention which is patented. Now, what happens is your license agreement doesn't talk about your future development in the invention. See, invention cannot be cannot be stagnant. For example, Nokia. Nokia died. Nokia was the pioneer. You remember that solid phone, even if you drop it down from the second floor, it will break into pieces, but when you join back, you can still use it. But nowadays, you just throw your Samsung phone from up, that's it. 2 minutes, nothing will have, everything is gone. The pioneers, who is the pioneer of these mobile phones? It is Nokia. But where is Nokia now? Nokia is almost out. Why? Because they have not developed their research, or they have not moved ahead. They didn't do some kind of, improvement in the research. Any research will need an improvement. You cannot use the same thing, the mobile that we had, that snake, that games, the snake which we used to play. Always I used to play with that. And the snake will die on its own if it enters and stops. Now, what all games do we have in this one? Now, the latest mobiles also have this oximeter also with you. Yes, of course, we had this, the calories checking, then, the heartbeat, heart rate, XYZ. Now they have added this oximeter to check your oxygen level also. So this is an improvement in the research, which is constantly happening. The Nokia has actually gone almost out of the market because they did not improve on their research. Okay, so getting back to the topic of licensing agreement, that means I am an invention that I have transferred to the industry. But in the license agreement, I have not addressed the future development. Then I am losing it. The industry will develop on the base. The base is mine. The foundation of that invention is mine. But later on, he's building stories. Okay, he will say in your agreement, you have not mentioned about the future development. So I have developed the future. Why should I give you the royalty? There are cases where universities have actually failed. So your licensing agreement with your industry should be very strong. The foundation is yours, but your licensing agreement does not talk about the future development. Then you're losing it. The industry will work on some of the research and they will develop the product. They said ki you have not mentioned in the licensing agreement about the future. Now, whatever royalty I get, it is only for me. I will not share it with you. You will lose your revenue, or only the base. Example is your best is your Nokia. You see Samsung 52, 82, 92, everything is coming up. Apple, yes, Apple is unaffordable. We will talk about people who can afford this kind of mobiles, which is Samsung. Samsung is, it came after Nokia. Why did Nokia die? It is because of this. Okay, so the licensing agreements, when the university does it up, you will have to mention about the future development also. If you develop from this base, the base I had given, I am the university inventor. So if you're developing on it, you should take my permission. Okay, so licensing agreements are one of the bigger drawbacks. We should have a strong legal team to frame that licensing agreements. So who will frame those licensing agreements? Nowadays, we have come up with this TTO. We have come with the TTO is nothing but Technology Transfer Office. Most of the academic setup has now Technology Transfer Office or Innovation Cell. Innovation Cell is primarily the work of the Innovation Cell is to find out the potential licensee and frame a proper agreement so as we don't lose the revenue. Okay. So one is the case study of Stanford. Now let's see what other nations are doing. Stanford stands #1 for technology transfer. Okay, the technology transfer office of the Stanford University is supposed to be called as OTL, which is Office of Technology Licensing. They exclusively do this work of converting their inventions from the university to for commercializing. What does OTL do? OTL promotes the technologies to be transferred for societal benefits. That means their research that they are undertaking is at par with your demand of the society. For example, the best, silliest example that I can give you is, I am a company, biotechnological company. I will focus on coronavirus vaccine and other stuffs. Why will I work on Ebola where my market is not there? I will not have takers if I go for a vaccine for Ebola right now. But if I go for a other route, this one for coronavirus, I will have takers, no? So the research should be at par with what is your societal need. Okay, So if you see the statistics, so I just the image on the right side is supposed to be how do they do it. Research is happening. Invention disclosure will be happening with your licensing authority. That is not licensing authority. This office. For example, I am a faculty. Imagine, I can at least imagine, no, that I am a faculty with Stanford University. It makes me feel good. Imagine that I'm a researcher with the Stanford University. So what I will do, I have an invention which has come up, which is novel, which is fulfilling the criteria for the patent. I will go and disclose my invention to the OTL. OTL is my organization's office who deals with this. Okay, invention disclosure. Then will do an assessment. What assessment will they do? They will see if you have a potential for making money, or is it useful for the society. Assessment of it. Then what they will do? Intellectual property. That is, they will go for patent. As an individual, I cannot maintain a patent. All universities also have this policy, because the invention, the inventor, if they are associated with the university, the invention is owned by the university, where the inventor's name will be given. Okay, so I am at this point of time, at least for the next 5 minutes, I am a faculty with the Stanford University. I've come up with the research. I have disclosed the invention to the OTL. Then they are doing an assessment, potential of it. Is it actually going to be useful for the society, and returns. Then they will go for IPR, that is protection for patents, marketing to licensing. Now they will find out a potential licensee. Okay, I need an industry. No, I have an invention to make money. What I should do? I will have to sell it to someone or license it to someone. So the OTL is responsible for finding the licensee and selecting the licensee. Then they will go for a licensing. This is a very critical step. Licensing agreement mein what are you writing? So this licensing agreement is done by this OTL office, where they are experts in various domains. Maybe a patent agent will be available, a lawyer may be available. So many people will frame that license rather. Then they will go for commercialization. Commercialization is nothing but discuss on your royalty. Generally they go for this stone royalty, that milestone royalty. What is milestone royalty? Yes, if you get a profit of this much, then 10% share is mine. If you get a profit of the little higher, then your 20% share is mine. So that discussion also will happen. Then again we will land up in royalties. So this is the model that Stanford University is following. So I just picked up the latest data. How much money are they making? Let us be very clear. Huh? We want money. Bas. Invention we do, we put it to the society, we get the revenue and we put it back to the research, and we are, nobody works for charity. Let us be very, very clear. Okay. How much did they earn? This is the statistics which has been from September 2019 to August 2020, which is the latest I could get. Okay. They have made a profit of almost USD 104 million in gross royalty, and 847 technologies has been transferred. Just imagine, 847 technologies has been transferred from one university in a span of 1 year, and they have made USD dollars of 114 million. So this is the amount of potential that the universities actually have when we go for patenting and IPR protection and further commercialization. Most of us now, India is very, the researchers in universities are well known for this, patenting. We are all aware of patenting, but are we aware of commercialization? So that is the next step that we will have to look for. Yes, I did a patent, I have a patent, then fine, I'm happy with it. No, we will move ahead for commercializing or making money out of it. Then the statistics also says there's an data which is available in their website as well. That is like 594 inventions where disclosures happened, 121 concluded to new licensee, and 56 of licenses XYZ. These are all the breakup of what has happened. So ultimately your eyes is going where? The USD 114 million US dollars that they have made in just 1 year, with almost 847 technologies. How 847 technologies has been transferred? Because they have worked on a research which is in demand. Okay. Now the example is corona hai, to work on corona vaccine. If you are working on some other vaccine, you might not have takers. That might be a good research, very good research. Yes, Ebola ke liye you have come up with the vaccine. Excellent, very good. But you don't have takers now because all the industry is focusing on COVID. I mean, to fight with the corona thing. Okay. The second case study that I have taken is Israel. Now, one can ask me, why did you take Israel? Israel has tremendously grown in the past decade. You know, that is why, because Stanford University, we all know that it is a big deal. I mean, it is a huge organization, and it is a well-known organization, and obviously it's not a big deal for them to make USD $114 because they are the giants, and Stanford stands number one for technology transfer activities. My intention to take this Israel is that Israel has developed or tremendously developed in the past decade. Okay, and one of the technique that they have taken for the success is technology transfer from universities. Okay, Israel is an innovation driven company. TTO of TAU is nothing but your Tel Aviv University, is remote. It is called as remote. I don't know why you call it as remote. They have kept it as remote. If I am Ramya, why am I Ramya? I don't know. It's like remote is their technical this one. Why I'm telling you this is some of them had asked me last time, and why remote? It is the name that they have given for their technology transfer office. One of the reasons for the economic growth of Israel is leveraging the untapped potential for technology transfer. This is what they have seen. It's an untapped potential. There is a lot of potential with us also. Every student has a potential. The only thing is like how much of an exposure he gets and how much we pull it out from them. Okay, so the untapped potential they have hit, and one of the major reasons of their economic growth is this technology transfer. The Israel has this history. Okay, according to the survey of Council of Higher Education, Government of Israel, 2008 to 2009. So this is again a data which is available in the public domain, right in the government site of Israel. Okay, so there were about 400 new applications of patents were filed each year in TTO, where 94% of the total patent applications were filed abroad also. That means they had filed in their own nation as well as they had filed in other nations. What we can see here is 92% of the sales revenue pertaining to IP in the year in 2009 were from the royalties obtained from licensing. That means 92% of their revenue generated in the nation was because of this royalties that has been obtained from licensing the innovations in the field of life sciences and medicine. So this is a big lesson that we all can take up. Economy of that nation has been raised. Maybe one of the reason is this untapped potential or the technology transfer. So this is a take home message for us. We have a good amount of research happening. We have patents also, which is coming up with most of the universities. The commercialization aspects, I'm not saying that it is not happening, but we can still accelerate. Who can do it? Academicians like us can actually get into it. The research can be patented and move ahead to the commercialization to make money. Nevertheless, I cannot leave my own nation here. What are the technology transfer success stories that we have? IIT Mumbai in 2004, they had made an supercritical extraction technology, extracting something. They were in collaboration with Devan Supercritical Private Limited, Pune, in December 2004. We do have technology transfers that is happening in the Indian scenario, but it is my opinion here is it is not as expected as we do researches. Most of the organizations are research oriented, research institutes, university and a research institute. We have n number of research activities which is going on. The next stage of commercialization, we need an acceleration to do it. Then IIT Mumbai in 2006, they have come up with a fuel additive technology, and IIT Delhi, it came with an rust guard technology, that high energy rust converter technology in collaboration with Multitrade. If you want to know the details of this technology, you can get into their website and look it out. My intention of putting this up is that we do have some amount of university industry technology transfer with us. Okay. Now, what are the initiatives? Because we cannot do anything without the government support. Okay, some of the initiatives that is being taken by GOI to support this university industry technology transfer is establishment of National Science Technology Entrepreneur Development in 2009. This was passed, and now most of the organizations have TBI, which is incubators. Incubators is maybe helping the initial stages of support, or they give seed money, because always research involves humongous amount of money. And then to empower the technical knowledge, Atal has been created. Most of us will know about it, AICT training and this one, to empower the technical knowledge and faculty members. And it has been published. This is the latest thing which has happened maybe 15 days before. What has happened is in the Gazette of it has been published that the reduction of fees for patenting, to make a patent or to actually maintain a patent, it needs a lot of money. Okay, at least for a year it needs 5 to 6 lakhs to maintain your patents. Okay, so now what has happened is, this is the latest information that has come, that this has not yet been propagated, but there is an idea which is going on. It is published that they are looking for this kind of an opportunity, where the fees reduction to all recognized institutes for applying patents. So this is something which our eyebrows has to raise here. Being the academicians and researchers, they're reducing, or they're waiving off the fees for the patents. Then in 2018, they revolutionized or marred MHRD's innovation cell. This talk is also one among this initiative that has been taken. Okay. Then MIC programs, that is Institution Innovation Cell, IIC, which most of the organizations have come up with. This is one of the lecture that we are delivering in one of the schemes of this. And Atal ranking institutions. Now, institutions have been based on innovation achievements. So there is one more criteria for attaining the accreditations, is this Atal ranking of institutions on innovation achievement. That is to push or to help or to support and encourage the researchers, both the faculty as well as the students in the university, to come up with innovative products which can be patented and further commercialized. And National Innovation Startup Policy for students. And these are the few policies which has come up, and they are very recent, which is in 2018-19. They are very recent enough. So maybe in the down lane of 10 years, we might, actually we will have a lot of research that is coming up. And I would sincerely suggest that, there should be a collaborative technique, mechanisms between the university and industry to actually have a blockbuster. Okay. So with this, I conclude my session, and it is left for the questions. Sir, we are not able to hear you.
Hello. Yes.
Yes, sir. Now you're audible. Yes.
So it's a really wonderful session, ma'am. We learn lots of regarding patents, and mainly the power of academics to invent something blockbuster or breakthrough. And you presented the great case studies of Stanford University, Israel, and even of our own country, and lots of learning things from all the sessions. So with your permission, shall we start with the question answer session?
Definitely, sir. Definitely.
We have few questions in chat box.
Okay. Yes, sir.
So first is, after disclosing the invention after 20 years, can I, instead of other patent, it again after the upgradation? I think
yes, you can go for an addition of patents. I think that has been dealt with the second speaker, the who is on filing of patents and the other types of patents. Yes, you can add on. Addition of patents are available, sir, but you should again show a sufficient amount of novelty in it.
Okay.
You cannot just extend the patent. You cannot extend it without the proper justification that some more of a novelty has been added to it.
Okay. Okay. Thank
Yes,
you,
sir.
ma'am. Another question is, how do we protect then our own traditional knowledge or the skills? So I think they want to
Traditional
ask
knowledge
that.
which is already known, we rather cannot protect. Now, turmeric, antiseptic, which is already known, sir, which is already known, then see, it is an intellectual property, right? Something which is intellectual can be protected, which is already known cannot be protected.
Okay, so in case of turmeric, so how did they file the patents after, as it is already existed?
That is the flaw with the US government. They did not do a proper patent search, which is
Okay,
again
okay.
dealt in the other session of filing of patents. How will you file a patent? They will have to do a prior art search. So we see US and the other nations on top, but flaws even happen there.
Okay, okay. There is one more query, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Is process patent still allowed in India?
Yes.
After TRIPS or the agreement?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Process and
Okay.
product patent are both are available.
Okay, okay.
Okay. One
Okay,
more
so these are the
question.
questions in chat box. So we also have some questions regarding the pharmacy background mainly. So if we have some drug design models, for example, like the Pharmacophore model or 3D QSR model, which can use to design the new drug molecules or can be used to optimize the existing molecules. So can we patent models?
No, if it is a software issued, you cannot patent it. Because software itself is being copyrighted. So see, if you have Schrodinger softwares, which we have, the other things, we have to purchase it. Why are we purchasing it? Because it is not freely available. So they are all copyrighted. So some models which is from the software cannot be patented.
Okay, okay. And we also like to know about design patents. So how
Design
to,
patents is basically not in India, sir. It is available in the US. Design here, we have it as an industrial designs and other things. Design patent, utility patent is in US. So here I have spoken only about the Indian Patent Act 1970. So if there is another session which is on the US patents and the European patents, then I would be touching upon the other.
Okay.
India may, the only two types of patents that is available is a product and the process patent.
Okay.
Utility and design is not available.
Right. And can you guide us, ma'am, on writing what are the do's and don'ts when writing claims for patent?
That is again in the filing procedure, no, sir. Yeah. So that again needs a different. There are independent claims. There are dependent claims. There is an art of writing the patent. That is what I had given you an example. There was one patent application where they did not draft it properly. 60 degrees may that compound was formed. They lost it.
Okay.
Okay. Or exactly the other company will fight. Even small things matter. So that company had come up with 61 degrees. So that is the mistake where in drafting the protection or the claims. So independent claims and the dependent claims is something which is different. I have just touched up only on the basic part of the patents. Okay. So filing of patents and how will you prepare that? Patent search and this prior art search and the other types of this question, how to draft a patent. Okay. So that is a different aspect which is very critical. That is what I had picked up an example of that 60 degrees. If you would have given a range of 40 to 70 degrees, obviously you might have not diluted the patent. So drafting a patent is very, very important. Similar to that of publications. What do we do in drafting is more important. We might have an excellent work with us, but if it is not properly drafted, it might not get published. So drafting a patent is one another critical area of concern.
Okay, so in that case, do we require always the techno-legal assistance?
We need a technical assistant. We have these patent agent exams. Okay. We have most of the exams that have come up where they're booming up. There are students who are writing these patent agent exams as well. So some of the, I think in Nagpur, the university, the college, I am not getting it right now. There is an institute in Nagpur which exclusively trains these patent agents. Maybe it is not, my human brain is not working right now. It's not clicking. So maybe there is one institute in Nagpur which exclusively helps you on this. You will have to clear a patent agent exam to actually help. There are many consultants, patent consultants. What do? They have cleared the exam, patent agent exam, and they have worked under some of the, it's like law, working under some superior. Then you will be learning to draft the claims and further you can proceed. So there is an examination to clear, which is your patent agent examination.
Thank you, ma'am. So one more question is that nowadays research papers are coming on different drug delivery systems, like using some biological materials like cells also, like they're using RBCs or even stem cells to deliver the drug.
Yes, yes.
In that case, can we patent those delivery systems like RBCs?
So that is again a case basis, sir. Delivery systems cannot be, that again is case basis, that we will have to check out again with the, it is case based. See, again, what the Indian Patent Act says is that, you cannot patent the plant varieties, and you cannot patent a surgical treatment procedure and things. That is again dealt what they are coming up with. Are they coming up with a product, or are they coming up with something which is, medically used? I mean, now surgery, I had given an example of that pelvis surgery. Right? You cannot patent certain things which is actually beneficial for the society. So that will be again dealt on case basis on what you are coming up with.
Okay. In general, just wants to know about in any academic research institute, how should be their system for patent filing? So there are many ideas come up from the students.
There is a software. There is a software which is called as. There are many softwares which are available for patent search. Before we start a research, we will have to do a patent search. Maybe you're coming up with some technology which is already patented somewhere else. So you will not be granted your patent. So this patent search is not being incorporated in most of the academic setup in Indian scenario. Before you start research, we will have to see what has been patented, which is available, provided you have an idea of patenting your research. So you will have to check what has been patented in that domain. For example, atorvastatin or whatever that therapeutic area, what have they patented? Now, what have they patented? And if I have to gain patent, what is the novelty that I can incorporate in the current research? Because novelty, applicability, and non-obvious is the three criteria with the Indian government or the Indian Patent Office will look at. So you come up with some patent and which is already been patented somewhere else, then your novelty question dies. So then you will not be granted a patent.
Right.
So patent search has to be incorporated in the Indian academic system. Anybody who is doing a search should have two things. One is, what is the society? Is my research at par with the societal demands? Because sometimes what happens, what I know in research, I will do the research. But do I actually check, is it useful for the society? No. We come up with many nano technology. We come up with many many things. We will be doing it up. So if you're doing that, I just got lost. Where was I? It's like if you're
nanotechnology.
If you're coming up with nanotechnology, can we actually formulate it? Can we actually come up with such kind of a technology? It's like, we do it sometimes for a research and we leave it off. That might not be possible. So it's like, you should be, as a researcher, should do two things. One is do a patent search before you even start the research. And the second point is, is my research helpful for the society, right, in the current scenario? Okay, most of us, rather, let us be honest with ourselves. Most of us are happy with one publication of a research. Once if you publish, then you cannot get the patent. Okay, after publication, did you go for a commercialization? Did you make money out of it? We are happy with the publication and we are safeguarding. That's it. We stop with publications. Our incentives, everything, we stop with the publication. Where do we commercialize? Do we have even an intention of making money out of my research? Whatever research I know, I will do in that domain. But is it useful for the society? Is the demand from the industry? That is one factor that every researcher has to capture it. मैं जो कर रहा हूँ या कर रही हूँ, वो किसी के लिए useful तो होना चाहिए. At least in that current scenario. So that is the take-home message.
Right.
And before doing a research, we will have to go for a patent research. क्या patented है इस दुनिया में? What is not? And is my research going to get patented? If I get patented or research, if I do, publication से मैं खुश नहीं होना चाहिए. थोड़ा आगे और move a little ahead to make money. Ultimately, we are making money.
Right.
So these two are the take-home messages that I would strongly place for all the researchers. Please
Yes.
go under the research which is societal benefit at that current point of time.
Right.
And collaborate with the industry.